On today's chair, somebody that has built a phenomenal business from being, I read a part of your story as a kid when your mother gave you uh, basically the means of making things happen. And it's not often we hear those stories. Actually, entrepreneurial stories start from a very young age. And what you have built, not only from what we see in this building, is truly mind-blowing. And you inspire not people like myself, but also many other Zibusiso, young Zibusisos from that same township where you come from. So I just want you just to take me back to exactly where it all started. Where did the avatar idea came about? I mean, how did you formulate that idea?
Um, sure. That's an interesting idea. So, that's an interesting question. So, getting into the industry and realizing that this industry doesn't treat people well, and I wanted to form a business that would be a home away from home for
Yes.
our people, that would feel like a safe space, where people thrive,
Yes.
and I formed Avatar. So it was actually a almost a weird protest,
Yes.
It was a weird protest
So
to
it was
just do
something
things.
out of need, basically, that came about because you saw it firsthand.
Yeah, and on top of that, at the time when I was forming the business,
Yes.
there was, like advertising agencies, yes, then there were digital agencies, um, and I wondered why does something like a digital agency exist?
Yes.
Because why don't we have radio agencies or TV
Makes
agencies, but
sense.
why do we have digital
Why do you have
agencies?
digital agencies?
So we were
Yes.
one of the first to form an integrated agency that can do marketing and communication across, So that's why I formed it.
That's why I formed it.
Yeah.
Can I just take your glasses off? 'Cause
Oh
I'm
yeah,
going to give
yeah.
you a haircut today.
Oh yeah.
And I'm going to be
This is
touching
so
your
dope.
hair. And I hope you like it. I'm not sure if the skills are still there, but yeah, because I know that
Well,
you cut your hair at Waterfall. Is it
at
Waterfall?
Waterfall, yeah. No, no, I think the skill should be there.
It should
No
be.
pressure. It's not like you got a lot of barbers watching you right now.
So the guys are out there looking at, is this guy really doing it? Yeah. So take me back. So
Yeah,
as a kid, I mean, like you shared your story, and I was at your book launch, fortunate
yeah,
enough, and you shared your story. I was really inspired by
yeah,
by by just the beginning of your journey.
yeah.
If you can just share a snippet of what did that look like, especially in the beginning, growing up,
Yeah.
and what was the pivotal moments that actually made you think that I'm going to be an entrepreneur today?
Okay. So, so growing up, I mean, I grew up in Soweto, Mpulo North. My grandmother was an entrepreneur. She sold cool drinks,
Okay.
and so I used to help out on selling cold drinks. My mom also was an entrepreneur. She made curtains for a living, and
Nice.
I got through school that way. But with her curtain business, so at times I used to be up hanging curtains, putting up curtain rails and all that thing, and playing my role, you know. Um,
And those were the most humbling days, huh? I mean, like,
yeah,
yeah, you're busy, and your hands is getting, and you're like with those
yeah,
white things, those white
yeah.
things.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the time you don't realize that, it's actually building something in you.
Yes.
But I mean, sometimes when she used to get paid, I used to take money to the bank. I used to bank her money for her.
Okay.
I
Okay.
used to walk from equivalent to like somewhere around Small Street, Joburg
Yes.
CBD,
Yes.
all the way to the Oriental Plaza to buy her materials and ribbons. And
What?
all of this was teaching me independence, getting me involved in business.
Yes. And at what age was it?
Um, It was like my primary school days,
Yes.
so I would have been around 10 years old,
Yes.
give or take, you know. So came one day when I needed to help out with transport money, and she got me a packet of sweets, which I went on to go sell at school naturally, because I've
Yes.
been exposed to entrepreneurship so much,
Yes.
And yeah, from that packet of sweets, there were more packets of sweets. Then all of a sudden, my friends were selling the sweets for me,
Are you serious?
and I grew a nice
Because
sweet empire. Almost the size of Legends. Almost the size of Legends. I'm kidding.
So people started working for you at the age of 10 years old.
Oh yeah,
What?
yeah. So when break started, my job was just to distribute the sweets, and break
Yes.
ended, it was to recon everything, how many sweets were sold, and I paid in sweets as well, So I had a whole lot of my friends selling. Yeah,
So you
yeah,
used to pay your friends in sweets. So if
yeah.
you sell extra amount of sweets,
That's
your
it.
commission is.
That's it. That's it. And after school, even the local KFC knew me by name. They even knew my order, sometimes the chicken licking,
Yes.
but the point is, I could then pay for my own transport, I
Yes.
could eat the food that I wanted to eat, that's
Yes.
when I started realizing the power of money,
Yes.
in that what money actually does is that it gives you more options,
That's true. That's true.
because before I'd have to eat my lunchbox,
Yes.
right? But now that I'm making money, I've got an option not to eat my lunchbox and eat
Yes.
what I want.
That's true. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that.
you
I love
know,
that. And it teaches you those principles from a very young age. And I think
yeah,
most of the time as kids, we don't actually embed it within our future generation. Like for
yeah,
example, like especially with myself as well, I'm trying to
yeah,
teach my boy the importance
yes,
of what it is to budget your money. Because this
yeah.
guy goes to the shop, he takes out all his money and he gives the cashier. And it's like he's not looking
Yeah,
at the cents and the rands,
yeah,
he's not
yeah.
counting. How important was that from you from a very young age?
Um, Extremely important,
Yeah.
because if I chowed all my money,
Yes,
and I chowed the money to buy more stock, that means my business would be gone,
that's true.
and and you, it's realizing that there's a tomorrow,
Yeah.
But the topic that you touch on about kids,
Yes.
what I worry about, with my own kids, right?
Yeah.
It's, I explained my background where, to get to school, I used to take what, 2, 3 taxis a day
Yes.
to get to
Yes.
school.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I was in the township, it was hustle. But I look at, the environment that my own kids are growing in now,
Yes.
it's a very protected environment,
Yeah. I agree.
and, the environment that they go in, will they get the same hustle spirit that me and you had?
Yes, that's
As an
true.
example, because
That's
they're
true.
from a completely different background,
Yeah. Yeah.
And to your point, it's very important to create that environment at home,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so what I always teach my kid is that, entrepreneurship is more of a culture than anything else. It's a culture that you embed,
Yeah.
because for me, the culture was, I learned that culture through my grandmother, through
Yeah.
my mom,
Yeah.
to a weird extent, although I've never met him, my dad as well,
Yes.
and so, for me, it's more the culture of being able to recognize a profit-making opportunity,
Opportunity. Yes.
rather than seeing problems,
Yeah.
but rather see opportunity to make money.
To make money.
Yeah,
And I think it's also give and take. And I definitely
yeah,
think that if let's take for example, if
yeah,
we grew up in basically in a place where our parents were in business, you
yeah,
understand? And we take it people that's much more experienced in business. How would
yeah,
that affect your journey right now?
mm,
Because if you think about it, everything hidden to those fundamental principles that you learned as a kid.
Yeah.
And those principles could either instill fear into you
Yeah.
or doubt.
Yeah.
Because your ability to handle money could be a risk, or it could be, you know what, I'm going to use this
Yeah.
as monetary to increase my resources.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I think, you know, life is what you make of it,
Yeah.
right? If I may quote the Bible,
Yes, definitely.
you know, there's a point where Moses is supposed to open the waters, you know,
Yes.
and God says to him, "What do you have in your hand?" And he's
Yes.
got his staff, right? And that's the thing. With all our experiences in life, they give us something in our hand,
Yeah.
right? We can either see this staff as just a stick,
Yeah.
or it's something that will open amazing doors one day,
One day.
right?
Yeah.
And for Moses, he took a very simple thing of a staff, believed in God, and opened the waters, right?
Yes.
And all of us have got something in our hand, right?
That's true.
Yeah, and it's realizing its value, right? So those lessons of life, you know, the difficulties of life, the challenges of life, that is all our stuff.
Yeah.
We are all
Yeah.
holding it.
Yes.
But the choice to use it lies with us, you know,
Yeah.
the choice to believe that this can happen, it truly lies with us, you know. So
Yes.
hence, I don't necessarily believe in negative experiences, you know. I believe in experiences that grow a person because, you know, what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. You know.
So that tough love, no pain, no gain.
That's it. That's it. You know, I had to have so many doors shut in my face. I mean,
Yeah.
when I started in, like when I was 17 eventually, and I went and started this business,
Yes.
right? It wasn't called Avatar then. It was called Sisonke. I had so many
Oh,
doors shut in my face.
serious?
Yeah. I mean,
What
people.
was the worst experience ever?
It was being told that it will never work, you know, you don't know the first thing about business, you should go and get a job, you know.
Oh,
And that's the thing, if you tell your vision to the wrong people, well, they'll obviously say that
They
because
obviously
they're
say
not
that.
part of it,
yeah,
you know.
that's true.
And that's why it's important to share, you know, with people that can truly be part of it, even if they don't work for you,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
once someone, you know, supports your vision, it
Yes.
also helps you, you know, in that you also won't think you're crazy because
Yeah.
the world thinks you're
The
crazy.
world thinks you're crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I definitely agree with you because, you know, there's a level of that, I call it like intuition,
Yeah,
where you know you're doing the right thing,
yeah,
but you're struggling to affirm it by
Yeah.
speaking to people that's looking at you and thinking, what is this guy doing? And the intuition is sometimes we think we are crazy.
yeah, yeah,
And you ask yourself, cross-question yourself so many
Yeah.
times, am
Yeah.
I doing the right thing? But you just keep on going.
That's
because
it.
you have deep down inside a desire
Yeah.
that this is the only thing for me to do.
yeah, yeah.
And I think many of the times, so many entrepreneurs out there has that fear of,
Yeah.
what was that fear factor for you in the beginning?
Well, I think, you know, it's very weird that the fear was actually put in me,
Yes.
right? And it was put in me by comments, you know,
Okay.
that would arise after meetings, you know. It was me knowing that I'm from the township.
Yes.
It was me knowing that for me to get to this meeting, I took 2 taxis and I'm in the middle of Rosebank, you know.
What?
It's like it's me knowing that when I walk out of here, if they see me walking on the side of the street, what are they gonna think? Are they gonna still do business with me?
Oh.
You know, it you know, it's like I had big dreams, Sheldon. You know,
Yes. Yes.
like I wanted to make my first million when I was 21,
I
right?
remember you told me that story. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
You know, and I had fears within me. Will I actually be able to do it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But you know, that thing that kept me going is you know, when you just meet one person
Yes.
who affirms that your dreams are valid, your dreams are not crazy,
Yes.
right? When you just meet just those people,
Yes.
it just keeps you going, and it keeps you going beyond your fears. So even when like multiple doors
Yes.
closed, right, which they did,
Yeah.
um, I still went on to the next one, you know.
And who was that person that believed in you?
Oh, my mom.
Your mom.
Yeah, yeah, my mom believed in me.
Wow.
You know, for her to give me the 2,000 rand to start.
Yes.
Remember, like now we're talking what? I'm 42 now.
Yes. Yes.
And I was 17 then, right?
Yes.
So this is many years ago.
Yes.
2,000 rand then was
Was a lot of
equivalent to
money.
10,000 rand today,
Yeah,
let's
that's a lot
say.
of money.
You know?
That's a lot of
So
money.
for her to take her last savings and believe in my dream,
Wow. It
you
says a
know?
lot about her.
Yeah, yeah.
It says a lot about her.
Yeah, you know. So just that affirmation from her,
Yes.
you know, like helped me to keep on going.
Yeah, no, I think that's so important because like especially with me because I also have a special bond with my mom as well.
Yeah,
And
that's dope.
yeah, yeah. So the thing is, the one thing that like because I come from a Christian house, you
Yeah.
understand, and she never told me to pray. She
Yeah.
wasn't of one of those mothers that would actually say, you know what, you have to pray in the morning, you have
Yeah.
to do this, you have to do this.
Yeah,
She modeled a lifestyle
yeah,
according to how I
yeah,
must live.
yeah,
And the one thing that I learned from her is that each and every morning she would get up in the morning, 5 a.m. and she would pray.
yeah,
And she would just do this each and every day.
yeah.
And guess what happens to Sheldon today? Sheldon is like following that same footsteps
Yeah.
because of the role model that
Yes,
they instilled within us.
yes.
How important was that for you as well? Because I mean, like, they do play such a special role in our lives.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think with my mom, so very much like you, I grew up in a Christian household, but mine was a step further. The church was
Yes.
at home.
Oh, the church was at home.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
You know, the church was at home, you know, so,
Yes.
but it had always been a Christian household.
Yes.
But, you know, when the church is at home, it gets to a point where you're like, I know, I'm tired of this Christian thing.
Yes.
I want to do my own thing. You
Yes.
know, that was me around 18.
Okay,
you know?
okay.
And so as soon as I passed matric, I was out of home, right? And all of those things that she taught me went out of my brain,
Yes,
right? And it
yes.
went the other way, right?
Yes.
So now let me tell you what's interesting.
Yes.
So I was still running the business, right? So while I was in university, I was running the business, right?
Yes.
I get to 21, right? Guess
Yes.
what? I make this
So you made a-
coveted million that I
yes,
wanted, yeah?
Yes, yes.
But 23, I lose everything,
Yes.
right? I go flat broke. I lose absolutely everything.
How did you lose that?
Yeah, signing bad deals, Sheldon.
Are you serious?
Just signing bad deals, not reading contracts properly.
Yes.
And because remember, my mom's teachings were now out, you know.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
doing things my way.
Things.
You know, I was
Yeah.
arrogant. I was, you know, like, because I was young and successful.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
And I had to lose it at 23 for me to go back to what my mom taught me in the first place, what I should have done in the first place, you know. And that's when I found God truly now,
Yes.
you know, and that's when now I started living by her teachings,
Yes.
right? And with that principle, I found my purpose to make a positive difference to the next person's life, you know, and that's my life purpose. And as soon as I started living that life purpose, that million rand grew and grew and grew and grew, you know, and yeah, from losing everything,
Losing everything and
everything was rebuilt even bigger than where I
what
started.
you intended, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that? What was those lessons that you encountered during that time?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think for me, you know, one of the best traits to have as a human being is to understand the next human being.
Yeah.
You know, it is because we are because of each other.
Yes.
Right? Before, I was like on a one-man show. You know, I
Okay.
can do it by myself. It's my own
Yes.
strength, you know. But,
Yes.
but, you know, when you give yourself time to understand the next person, that's when it's no longer about your IQ, but it becomes about EQ as well.
Yes.
You know, because then you understand the emotional need of the next person.
That's true.
So if you're going into a deal, as an example, yes, you're applying your IQ onto the deal, but you also have to take into account everything that you're doing. How does it make the other person feel? Right?
Yes.
And
true.
and if you're going to get into a long-term partnership with someone, you don't want to start it on a bad base. Yes, you can
course,
get what
yes.
you want.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to take into account that there's still a tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, so how you do business with the next person matters.
Yeah.
And so it's those simple principles of understanding the next person.
Yes.
You know,
And
and
I think that stems to the golden rule in the Bible that says, "Do unto others as you want them to do unto you."
100%, 100%, you know, and in doing business that way, remember now, when I found my purpose of making a positive difference, it means that when I make a deal with you, I'm always trying to find a win-win, right? Where I win and you win,
Yes.
right? In that way, I know that I'm going to have a long-term partnership with you.
Of course.
You know, and I imagine with your business as well, right?
Yes.
You could only get this far not because you are charging the cheapest price, right? But you are providing the best value.
Yeah.
As an example.
Yes.
So when I part with my money, I'm going to have a great conversation with the barber. That's EQ.
Yeah,
You know, I'm
that's
going to
true.
get great service. That's the stuff that people feel,
People
right?
feel.
Over and above the haircut.
Yes, that's true. That's so true. That's so true. And I think most of the time as businesses, we always look at the income statement and we look at those type of things, but we forget exactly what it actually takes to deliver great service.
That's it. That's it.
And
That's
that
it.
service element is sometimes compromised.
100%, right? You are only as good as your previous customer.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And you know, when you focus, you know, for me, you know, developing a higher EQ meant that now I wasn't focused on what's the maximum I can make of a person,
Yeah.
you know, but what is the best value I can provide to them? Because if I feel that I've gained value, then I'll keep on coming back.
Of course. Then you create that returning customer.
Yeah.
And then retention becomes much more easier.
Yes.
Because now you're not thinking about the short term, you're
Yes.
thinking about the long term.
That's it.
But I think, to tell you the truth, I think all of us has been in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Where you think about the short term in that moment.
Yes.
And you think that, you know what, I'm not going to see 30, so I might as well, I might as well cash in now and try
Yeah.
to figure out everything now.
Yeah.
But it comes back to bite you
It
in
does.
the long term.
It
You
does.
know, there's a verse in Proverbs that says, whoever gathers money hastily will dwindle. It
Yes.
talks about money basically. It talks about
Yes.
how you gather your money. Eventually it will dwindle.
Yes.
But whoever gathers little by little
Yes.
will be refreshed. I think that's a principle that in today's life we're struggling to understand, especially the
Yes.
youngsters.
Yes.
Look at the youngsters today, they're looking at what's the next quick buck. They see
Yes.
Zibusiso start the agency.
Yes.
Here's the agency is booming. I want to be part of, I
Yeah.
also want to start my own agency. How do
Yeah.
you understand? Not understanding that the process, it took
It
you
takes
to get
time.
you there.
It takes time. Absolutely. It takes getting it wrong so many times, you know,
Yes.
like, and the reason, you know, when I wrote the book, Sheldon, Business by Grace,
Yes.
I called it Business by Grace because I've made so many bad decisions,
Yes.
terrible decisions,
Yes.
right? But through all my bad decisions, I'm still here today,
Yeah.
right? And the business is still growing,
Yeah.
right? And that's because, you know, it's through God's grace that that is happening,
I love
right?
the title. I love the title. I mean, like,
Oh,
yeah, the business by grace.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Thank
like
you.
it's because many of the times we consider it, and like you mentioned,
Yeah.
it's our own doing.
Yeah.
It's because of our own strength. It's because what we are, all our skill sets. I mean, like you've been to Harvard, you've been to Yale, and you have all of these skill sets.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily guarantee you
Yeah.
the success that you're currently having.
Yeah, 100%. You know, all those things are a key, but you know, a key needs the right hole, and only God can introduce you
Wow,
to that
wow.
place where that key works.
I love that.
You know,
I
so
love
you can have as many keys as you want. You know, like, you know.
I love that. I love that.
So you know what I was saying is that you know it's only through grace that you know through all of my wrongs,
Yes.
my bad decisions, right?
Yes.
I learned from each and every one, and I became a better and better leader.
Yes.
I became a better business person. You know,
Yes.
I also became a better human being, right? Because
Yes.
it's only through grace that you know I realized that you know each time something doesn't go right, learn from it, grow from it.
Yeah.
Each time a client says, no, we're not buying your service, take the time to understand why. What did I do wrong?
Yes.
Right? And once your customers give you feedback, improve on it continuously. Right?
Yes.
And guess what? Over time, you know, to the point that you are making, you'll start doing better and better and better. But you don't get it right day one.
Day one. There's no such thing.
There's no such thing.
Yes.
And it's only through grace that you are able to get up, you know, and do it again.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Do it again.
I mean, imagine being boxed by Mike Tyson and going back for more. That's what entrepreneurship is, you know. I think that's the best description. Being knocked out. And,
You knock out. And give me some more.
Yeah.
But that's so interesting that you say so, because that is the reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes we paint this picture, and I know it's
Yeah.
good to paint a picture on social media and,
Yeah.
and show it, but we paint this picture on social media that, you know, entrepreneurship is the nicest thing. We show
Yeah.
the stores, we show the awards, we show the covers, we show all of these nice
Yeah.
things, but we never show the beating.
Yo. It's so true.
Yes.
It's so true. I mean, when you think about it, you know, being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to endure unusual amounts of stress,
Yeah.
right? So this is something that would cause serious mental health issues, you know, in some people who are not built for it.
Yes.
Right? But when you are built for it, because the thing is, you are carrying so many people's lives. You
Yes.
know, every decision you make affects so many people,
Yeah.
right? And at the same time, while doing it, you have to do it in such a way that you make it look easy. But it's not, right? You know, there's a story that inspires me so much.
Okay.
So Nelson Mandela, a true story. He was on a flight,
Yes.
and then all of a sudden there was a problem on the plane.
Yes.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, they lost an engine, right? So they go up
While
to.
he was on the plane.
He was on the plane.
Yes.
Yeah. So they had lost one of the engines.
Yes.
So they go up to Nelson Mandela, and they tell him that, Tata, we've got problems on the plane, etc. They tell him the whole story.
Yes.
And he looks at the person and he says, oh, okay. And then he continues reading the newspaper,
What?
right? Yep. So the plane lands.
Yes.
And then he confesses. He says, you know, when they told me what was happening on the plane, I got so scared.
Yes.
Right? Then he says, but had I panicked, that means that everyone would have panicked. When the leader starts panicking, the
Yes.
hostesses will panic. The
Yes.
captain will start
Everyone will
panicking.
start panicking.
Right?
Yes.
Because imagine you've got Mandela on board
Yes.
and he's going, oh my God, oh my God.
What's happening? Yes.
Right? And so that's why I say now, being a leader, you go through so much, right? But you almost have to make it look good, you know,
Yes.
because the thing is, you have to ensure that your business is always stable, right? So you can't be an emotional leader that's always panicking about everything, etc., because then what are your people supposed to do?
That's true.
You know what I
Everyone
mean?
looks at you for answers.
That's right. That's right. And if you can't provide them because you are in the middle of a panic,
Yes.
right? That means your plane is going down. It's like a mayday
I
situation.
love that analogy because it just talks about the power of leadership as well. Because many of the time we underestimate
Yeah.
how important it is to be a good leader.
Yeah.
And not just an entrepreneur, the hustle and bustle, but
Yeah.
what it is to be a good leader.
Yeah, but it's also the toll on your mental health.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Because
I
it
agree.
doesn't mean that you don't feel anything.
Yes.
You know, it doesn't mean that you're not seeing danger.
Yes.
Right? But you have to have the spirit to endure it.
To enjoy it.
Right.
At that time, yes.
Yes, and again, hence my book is called Business by Grace,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's only through grace that,
Yes.
you know, you can survive, you know, the types of storms
Storms
that
comes.
entrepreneurs go through,
Yes.
you know, and people think that as the business grows, it gets easier. But what they don't realize is that today you are worrying about 500 Rand, 1,000 Rand, 10,000 Rand.
Yes.
Tomorrow you are worrying about 10 million Rand, 50 million Rand, 100 million Rand, right?
You constantly put yourself under this pressure.
Yeah, you are still the same person,
Yes.
right?
Yes. But still, it still boils up. It still becomes, and it's true what you say, that the mental capacity that you need to endure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think many of the times, and myself included, I mean, like sometimes you don't want to see month end.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
want to see,
Yeah.
because you know all those notifications, because it comes down to the lives
Yeah.
that you actually need to ensure.
Yes.
Because I mean, like you have 300 staff members that's looking up to you.
Yeah.
And their families are looking up to them as well.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
pressure
Yeah.
to constantly perform, to
Yeah.
constantly be on top of it,
Yeah.
is a lot.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And you know, when I think about that pressure, then then there's another element to it, in that you may be Sheldon at Legends Barber, right?
Yes.
But when you get home, you have to be Sheldon the dad, right? And Sheldon the husband. Well, in your case, you're also Sheldon the husband at work.
Husband as well. Hey,
Yeah.
so you have to keep all the parties happy at the same time.
At the same time, right?
Yes.
So it means that, when you get to your family, because the thing is, I've got this fundamental belief that being an entrepreneur is not an excuse not to look after your family.
That's true.
Right? You
That's
have
so
to make time for family.
That's so
Because when you go through the most, those are the people that are there for you,
Yeah.
right? So when the time is still there and you're focused on numbers and chasing deals and not them,
Yes.
one day you'll need them and they're not going to be there
not going to be
because you never spent the time with them. So this thing is about make sure that, you're spending time with family. Make sure you're spending time with God. Make sure, yes, you're spending time in your business as well, in equal balance, understanding what is important.
Yes.
And those are the principles that I live by. When I wake up in the morning,
Yes.
I already know what I'm going to do for the day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I know the things I should concentrate on. I
Yes.
know the things that I should delegate to other people,
Yes.
right? I know the things that I shouldn't be doing,
Yes.
right? And I'm very clear about those things because I've only got 24 hours, just
Yes.
like everyone
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
And so I have to make sure that I get the maximum out of that 24 hours.
I want to find out how did you learn to prioritize what is urgent and what is important as an entrepreneur?
Okay. So it understanding what is important and what you need to do, it goes with priorities, right? So these things change. So let's say my priority is increasing business efficiency, as an example, right? I know that for, let's say, this quarter,
Yes.
I need to get my efficiency up to a certain level.
Yes.
That means that when I walk into the office, If you are telling me about, let's say, new business, that's not where my concentration is. I'm not after new business, but I'm after servicing what I have even better.
Even better,
As an
yes.
example, because if I bring in new business into a broken system, it's just gonna go pear-shaped,
That's
as
true.
an example.
That's true.
Sometimes it's not about efficiencies. Sometimes it's about, hey, business is down, right? We
Yes.
need to increase business in a certain division, right?
Yes.
That becomes the thing that I'm going to be focusing on, that will grab all of my attention.
I like
you
that.
know
I
so
like that.
it changes with time depending on the business imperatives.
Yes. Yes. And no day is the same.
No day is the same, you know. So if, let's say, I'm on efficiencies, right? Efficiency could be, how do I work with my operations team to increase efficiency?
Yeah.
On a different day, how do I work with my finance team to increase efficiency?
Yes.
On a different day. So the days are not the same, but the objective is the same
It's the
objective.
same objective.
Yeah.
And how important is it to be? Because I think as an entrepreneur, it
Yeah.
takes somebody special to become an entrepreneur, because you need to be well versed
Yeah.
in many areas.
Yes.
And when we talk about finance, you need
Yeah.
to be well versed in finance.
Yes.
Talk about operations. You
Yes.
need to understand exactly what efficiency
Yes.
and what it consists of in
Yes.
terms of running that operation side. How important is it as an entrepreneur to have all of these skill sets embodied in you as an individual?
Yeah. So my view is, it's important to have an understanding
Yeah.
of the skill set,
Yes.
right? Sometimes it's not, you might not be able to do, right? But it is important to understand, right? So in other words, if you can't put together a balance sheet, it's not a train smash.
Yes.
But it's being able to interpret the information
That's true.
from a balance sheet.
That's true.
And that's what's important,
Yes.
right? And for me, having started up, because I mean, earlier you mentioned the Harvards and the Yales and things. Those things came much later,
Yes.
right? But before then, it
Yeah.
was, spreadsheets and Google
Yes.
and learning, like,
Yes.
how do you do this? How do you do that? It is extremely important, because I have this belief that I need to understand my business operations from A to Z. I am not a designer. I couldn't design to save my life.
Yeah.
But I need to understand what a designer does. I need to understand what is a good piece of creative. So if we're going to produce a radio ad or a TV ad, whatever the case might be,
Yes.
I need to be able to tell that this is a good ad or that's a bad ad, right? Although I can't produce it myself,
Yeah.
but I need to be able to give feedback to the next person, that they understand why I think it's good or why I think it's bad,
Yes.
as an example.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And because as the entrepreneur, it's critical to fundamentally understand how your business operates.
Business operates. Yeah.
I take this lesson from taxi owners. Very
Yes.
interesting business.
Yes.
So when they start a new route,
Yes.
like, he drives the route himself before
Are
he
you
gets a
serious?
driver. Yeah, he drives the
Oh.
route himself.
I didn't know
So
that.
that,
Okay.
so that he knows how much the route makes. Because if you don't do that,
So here's the proof of concept first. He's
that's
like,
right.
oh, yes.
That's right. That's right. So also I operate in that way, right?
Yes.
I have to understand what each and every person does,
Yes.
so that I can contribute strategically,
Yes.
in what they do,
I like
right? But not that I'm gonna know what they are doing on a day-to-day basis,
Yes.
but it's how do I make the different businesses, the different departments work better in sync, That's the part of the job that I do.
Yes, and it's so important, because many of the times we think of it as being skilled in one area, but
Yeah.
understanding that you have to have these skills, but not to be the expert in
Yeah.
those skills.
Yeah.
You still need those people that
Yes.
that still run the day to day, and I think where the leader comes in is to embody that and say, how are we able to work
Yeah.
as a team collectively?
Yes, yes. I've also got this theory, on that, in that once you possess entrepreneurial skills,
Yes.
right? Let's say I come from the business of advertising and marketing,
Yes.
right? Um, I've got this theory that
Yes.
if you can run an advertising and marketing business, you can run any type of business, right? It's a
Serious.
theory,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'll tell you why, right? It's because I run such a subjective business.
Yeah.
I can show you a piece of work that I think is brilliant.
Yeah.
Then I show it to my client and they say, no, it's terrible, right?
Yes.
Everything is subjective to opinions, to feelings,
Yes.
to
Yes.
biases,
And even
etc.,
time as
etc.
well.
Yeah,
Yes.
Whereas if you're running a manufacturing business, a bottle of water is a bottle of water.
It still remains the same.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
So it means that the environment is a very complex environment because you need to get the most out of people,
Yes.
right? Let's say in my industry, right? So when you transition, let's say you become the CEO of a water bottling company, right? But because you've operated in such a complex environment, right? Different types of environment tend to be easier. And I've found this, if I venture, so I've got enterprises outside of advertising,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
When I use the skills that I've learned from running a complex environment, right?
Like advertising.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I get into a different industry, it becomes so much easier for me. So where I'm going when we talk about entrepreneurial skills,
Yes.
depending on what you do as an entrepreneur, right? You can transition between different types of businesses, but you only get to that point, right? When um, um, you only get to that point when you've almost lent your 360 of
Makes
skill
sense.
sets.
Makes sense.
And this is why businesses like Bidvest exist,
Yes.
right? Where at one point they could be selling cars.
Yeah,
Another business, they're wrapping
toilet
bags
paper.
in the airport and they're selling toilet paper. But these are different types of
These are
businesses.
different types of business.
But the leadership principles are the same.
Same, are the same, are the same. And I think just looking at it, it's many of the times we overcomplicate it entrepreneurship is difficult in
Yes.
its nutshell.
Yes.
But I think to discredit the youngster out there that wants to take on entrepreneurship, what would be those fundamental things for him to look out in future as to taking on this journey?
Yeah. Talking to youngsters in particular, I'm of the belief that to be a good entrepreneur, the first skill that you need is discipline.
Of course.
Right.
Yes.
I think you touched on it earlier on when you spoke about the discipline around money,
Yeah.
as an example. That's one form of discipline,
Yes.
right? But you also need a discipline around self, right? So one of the things that I did terribly wrong, right?
Yeah.
Okay, don't laugh at me for this. Right. So you can imagine being a youngster, right?
Yeah.
Making a lot of money. You've got
Yes.
the dream car, you've got a dream
Yes.
house, right?
Yes, it was a BMW.
Right. So you can imagine going to the local party.
Yes.
As an example.
And how people are looking up to you, say, that's the guy. That's the
Yeah, yeah. So you can imagine what life was like with the ladies, right? But
But you have a good ROE. like one of my mentors says, that's a return on ego, right?
But you see, that was part of, me lacking discipline because
Yes.
now, fine, I'm making money, but I'm not spending the money wisely.
Yes.
I'm now no longer using the time wisely because now I'm getting distracted from my vision and my goals, right? So do everything in moderation. You know what I mean? Like, don't let things get to your head.
Yes.
As an example, remember how you got to the next step. Never forget that. Remember the people that helped you get to the next step as well, And so that's why I say, number one, it's discipline. And where does discipline start? For me, discipline starts in the very simple things. It's about waking up in the morning and doing your bed, right? That is discipline,
That's discipline.
as an example.
Yes.
And I'm speaking specifically to youngsters.
Yeah.
It's about walking in the kitchen and seeing a dirty dish, right?
And
Don't wait to be told to wash it.
Yes.
Discipline is, there's a dirty dish, I need to wash it,
Yes.
right? And actually doing it,
Yes.
right? And that's what differentiates people who are dreamers and people who are doers. Because dreamers, right, kind of go, oh, there's a dirty dish, someone will wash it, right?
Yeah.
A doer sees a dirty dish and does something about it. And the same principles happen, are the same in entrepreneurship,
Yes.
where you will see a great idea, you'll dream about a great idea and say, wow, what if I did this, that? And you never actually do it because you never got the sense of discipline when there was time,
Yes.
right? So that's why it is very important, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, discipline, you know?
So true.
And discipline also means doing the things that you don't want to do,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
But it's what it takes.
I think that's so important because that disciplines defines exactly who you are.
Yeah.
Talk about those disciplines. It might seem small in the beginning.
Yeah, but it's
It's
huge
huge.
in the long
It's that
run.
1% that eventually becomes a snowball effect upon your life.
Yeah.
You wonder, how did you come out here? You understand? But
Yeah.
that 1% that you
Yeah.
produce, whether it was waking up early, whether it was going
That's
to run
it.
in the morning, all of
That's
those
it.
things multiply and basically it. We talk about it's basically that snowball
Yeah.
effect, exactly
Yeah.
like that.
I know, Sheldon, this is your interview. Can I ask you a question? Right? Is that fine?
Yes, yes,
You know, so you once spoke about your transformation,
yes,
right? And you know, in terms of your health,
Yes.
right, and fitness.
yeah.
I bet that took a lot of discipline and doing the things that you didn't want to do.
No, definitely, and
Yeah.
I think most of the time we live in this illusion.
Yeah,
We are fine.
yeah,
Stand until you look yourself in the mirror, and I'm talking like as entrepreneurs as well. The time when you decided to change your lifestyle, I think
yeah,
there's a time in your life where you look yourself in the mirror and you said, "Is this really what I have become?
yeah,
Is
Yeah.
this really, whether it's my finances, whether it's my life, whether it's all of these things?" And I
Yeah.
think until you look yourself in the mirror
Yeah.
and you come to that realization, you won't understand what changes you need to make
Yes.
in order to get to the next step.
that's right.
And that's where we come in and we say, okay, what are the small incremental
Yes.
changes that I need to implement
Yes.
in my life to
Yes.
become that person that I want to become in the
Yes.
future?
Yes.
I was actually sharing just this morning, say about a year and a half ago, I actually shared a picture because we're going away with a team. And
Okay.
I shared them a picture and I said, you know what, this is how I looked a year and a half ago. I couldn't believe it. They were like, what happened? Like you never realized that you looked like this before.
Yeah.
And it's that small discipline.
It's discipline.
It's that small disciplines, and I think that if you don't take care of the sense, you will
Yeah.
never take care of the rands. If you
That's
don't take care of
right.
that, and it
That's
just comes
right.
out.
That's right.
Really.
That's right. And that's why I say that first and foremost, it starts there.
Yeah.
You know, and I think to the youngsters, over and above discipline, it's making sure that your work ethic is bigger than your ambitions, right? And this is where we get it wrong, right? Yeah, I want this, I want that, I want to achieve this, but you don't have the work ethic that it takes to do it, right? And what do I mean by the work ethic that it takes?
Yes.
Right? You have to do, whether you are tired or it is cold or you don't
Yes.
feel like it,
Yes.
you still need to wake up and do it at the end of the day, you know,
agree.
because your work ethic is bigger than the ambitions, right? But if the ambitions are bigger, you're right, that's when there'll be constant dreaming, and then when you see Sheldon, you're thinking, that guy, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and then you so enslaved into that comparison mindset, not understanding
Exactly.
that the lazy hand craves, but
Yeah.
the diligent hand make it wealth.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
exactly what entrepreneurship is
Yeah,
like.
yeah. You have these things flowing. Hey, like yo, they're just like flowing like a fountain.
Oh, the one thing I've learned is that
Yeah,
and I want to share this
yeah,
with you. You know, the thing is like, especially with entrepreneurship, like
yeah,
many of the times people, people, people go to church on Sunday and they say, you know what, okay, now Monday I'm going to do
yeah,
business.
yeah.
And not understanding that business and spirituality
It's one
is
thing.
one thing.
Yeah,
And once you're able to understand that, where the book of Proverbs, you're going to study the book of
yes,
Proverbs and understanding
yes,
that if we acknowledge God in whatever we do, He's going to
yes,
direct our paths on Monday.
yes,
If we understand that that's the way to foster our business,
yes,
and it's something that I've intentionally done now, and I came to realization that, you know what, it's something that you have to intentionally
yeah,
do, because
yeah,
it's not a by the way thing,
yeah,
but it's a lifestyle that you live
yeah,
as Christ
yeah,
believers.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, I can only admire that trait in you. You know, I remember when so after finding God in my life, so you can imagine every second word I was talking about how good God is, about grace, etc.,
Yes,
etc.
yes,
Now, in an industry like advertising, where it's very
yes,
crass,
yes,
it's a very or let me give you a scenario. There's an a old agency that I used to know.
yes.
These guys, as part of their budget, they had a drugs budget,
All right.
right? Yeah. Right, because
Yes,
they didn't care about people, whether you hooked on cocaine
yes,
or you hooked on alcohol, whatever, they didn't care,
yes.
right? It's that type of industry, very crass type of
Wow.
industry, right? And the one thing, to where we started,
Yes,
that I wanted to do is turn it upside down,
yes,
so that it becomes a home away from home. But for that
yes,
to happen, there's certain Christian values that I had to imprint in the business, right?
yes.
And I've always known that, the culture in a business starts with me,
Yeah,
right? It starts with my behavior. It
yes,
starts with what I do,
yeah,
what I say, right? Or
yes,
how I say things, how I fix problems. It starts with
yes,
me. That's
yes,
what that's the culture in the business.
yes.
And our culture inside our business was built around love and care. But where does that love and care come from, right? It comes from the fact that love, is the most powerful force ever,
Ever. Yes, that's true.
all right? The ability to love, which is what I saw, because Christ loved all of us, right?
Yes.
And he died for us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
He loved everyone,
yes,
and because of love, he then became a sacrifice,
that's true.
right? And if you are able to love your people, love your clients, at the
Yes.
core, make love the center, right? You just achieve the impossible.
Yes, I totally agree with you, because now it's not about what I want,
Yeah,
but it's sacrificial love
that's right.
that's given over
That's
to the
right.
next person.
But at the same time, when we
Yes.
talk about love, now I'm preaching.
There we
You
go.
know?
Goodness.
But at the same time, when we talk about love,
Yes.
Christ went into the temple and saw people selling in that temple,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And he did what he had to do out of love.
Yes.
It was still love.
You are still love.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's why even in a business, when people are not doing what they're supposed to do,
Yes.
with love, you still discipline them.
Still have to discipline.
That's right.
Still have to discipline. So it's not just about the one side, but understanding that, there has to be obedience in the
Yeah,
house.
that's right.
Yes. Yes. And you're saying the next thing. So you're saying it's discipline, and it was the love. And what's the other thing that you shared?
Oh, I was talking about work ethic and ambition.
Yes.
The balance between work ethic and ambition, making sure that your work ethic is bigger.
Yeah.
And so, in so saying, again, we've all got 24 hours. So within that 24 hours, how do you spend it? Do you spend the time, all your time on PlayStation? Well, do you spend all your time out on the streets? Or do you dedicate some time towards your ambitions as well?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so when your work ethic is bigger, then you will know what to do with your time.
That's true.
You will know which friends are right for you. You will know which friends are not, right? I always say that, if you look at your friends, that's exactly who you are. Right?
True.
Because then what is it that combines you as friends?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something has to combine you.
Yeah,
you
there
know?
has to be something that the mutual understanding.
Yeah. And when you get that view, it's almost like what you were saying. That's almost like a mirror view. Your friends are a mirror of you. You know what I mean? So,
So you look at your friends, you're like,
yo. Exactly. So if you're going somewhere, you need to be able to look at your friends and kind of go, I'm going somewhere.
Going somewhere.
Because you'll see that reflection in your friends.
Yes.
Right? But if you're looking at your friends and you're thinking, hey,
That must contribute to tax affair. Tell me quickly, on top of it, I want to find out from you.
Yeah.
How important is having the right mentors in your life?
That's an interesting question. And I don't know if I'm the best placed person to answer it, right? And the reason I say that is because I never formally had a mentor, right? But what I did have, right, because I never knew anything about business.
Okay.
So each time I would be in boardrooms, I would ask as many questions as possible.
Yes.
Each time where I would meet a Sheldon,
yes,
I would ask as many questions as possible. I always seeked understanding,
Yes.
So not necessarily in one person, right?
Yes.
But from everyone, getting perspective, because, I still believe in this principle, even in my business today, that, when I make a decision by myself, I make a one-dimensional decision. But when I make a decision with other people, then I make a decision with perspective.
Perspective, yes.
It's not just my own views and my own biases, but people are able to bring in perspective.
I like that.
But it's also having the wisdom to know, there's a saying in Zulu that, you should eat the meat and leave the bones.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's also having the wisdom to know what is meat and what are bones.
What are bones, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because everyone has got their own way of doing
Everyone
things.
has their own opinion on things.
Yeah. And to find your own, lots of these different views are important.
Yeah.
And where do you find people like that? You certainly won't find them in your bedroom.
That's true.
So it means that you have to get out there and find those people that you aspire to be like. I remember one gentleman that played a massive role just in my own confidence and how I got my first corporate deal. And what's very cool is that this morning, I haven't heard from him in years. And he actually texted me this morning. He just bought my book. Yeah. Yeah. His name is Andy Lemazai. He just sent me a text this morning.
That's beautiful.
But the role that he played, he was speaking at Wits, and I had been seeing him on TV.
Yes.
And I was determined to meet him.
Yes. Yes.
And I went to Wits and I met him.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the thing is, if you're not going to where they are, you're always going to be in the same places.
That's true.
Same mindset.
That's so true.
Right?
That's so true.
So for the mindset to change, you need to be with people who are of a different mindset that you aspire to be.
Because I think it rubs off.
Yeah,
Definitely rubs off.
in a huge way.
Definitely rubs off, because if those people weren't the people that's talking to you, that's
Yeah,
sharing their wisdom or their opinions to you,
that's right.
you wouldn't be able to make a discretionary decision
Yes,
based on where do I go to next.
yes,
Yeah, and I think it's so important that we recognize that although
yeah,
somebody is not like mentoring, maybe you listen to a podcast or maybe
yes,
watching a show, or maybe somebody's out there that is sharing these types of nuggets,
yes,
even if it's just one thing that you can grab and say, I'm
yes.
gonna run with this.
That's it. Why? Because there's another belief that I believe in that perspective is more important than intelligence,
I love that.
right?
I love
Because
that.
intelligence is a singular thing.
Yes.
Perspective is lots of great brains coming together, and when you have those people around you, they're able to, calm you down sometimes, because you might be thinking it's the end of the world. They're like, calm down, man. That's what all entrepreneurs go through. Yeah,
Yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
That's so wonderful. I think from my side, I just want to say thank you very much for sitting on this chair and just sharing your golden nuggets of wisdom. I am inspired myself by what you have shared and what you have built, and through the challenges that you've gone through, what you have overcome. Uh, I really do appreciate you for sitting on this chair, and I think in a short uh, short nugget that you just want to just drop for our listeners out there, just something that God placed in your heart just to share, this is the words that I wish I had before embarking on this journey.
Okay. Um, Firstly, thank you, Sheldon, for creating such an amazing platform to reach out to so many young people out there, and I know that every episode you do is going to change someone's life, and God bless you for that.
Thank you very much.
And to anyone who's watching out there, there's a saying that I once heard, that man is God afraid, right? Where, when God created man, he gave a command that we must rule over his entire creation.
Yes.
So we've got a responsibility to further create.
Yes.
All of us have got a responsibility to further create. And it's about embracing and believing in that power of creation that God has put in you, So don't be afraid to create the business that God is showing you, because the reason why you're seeing it is because you ought to do it, So don't give in to fear. There's a particular scripture that I live by that says, I can do all things through Christ that gives me strength. And it is because it's only through his power that we are able, So you can do the impossible. And, you will meet the right people, but you need to go out there and meet them, So everything is in your hands, And I'm believing that whoever's watching this, I'm going to see you at the top.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. This is... It's right there, right there, right there. Oh. There we go, there we go. So you had it. I mean, this verse is so powerful.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think that you can't do certain things.
Yes.
And I can remember reminding myself at the age of 12 years old, I used to stutter, so I couldn't talk properly. And my grade 1, or grade 4, grade 5 teacher sat with me and she taught me this verse. She said, Sheldon, read this verse over and over and over. Every time you think about it, read it over and over. And once that verse started manifesting, then you realize you can do it.
Yes.
And thank you very much.
Wow.
Thank you very much
you,
for sharing that
Sheldon.
verse, and thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys, for watching, and thank you very much for being part of the show. Continue to like, share, subscribe, whatever, and make sure that you are inspired by people like this and people that have changed the narrative for us, changed the journey, and have walked the journey through the steps. This is Zibusiso Mkhwanazi and doing amazing stuff. Next, it's going to be you. Thank you.
Yeah.